something like that. You guys might know better.
Okay.
7, you see? It's like a blink, like that. It's like time flies.
This is really like, I don't think I've ever seen so many cameras. I feel like I'm surrounded by paparazzi. Speaking of cameras, we're going to put you on the screen. Can you guys get it? Oh, sure. Nobody minds, right? Put your heads together like that. So we thought we'd just let you guys ask us some questions, and we can sort of go from there. So I have a question. I know. But I want to know who's wearing a G-string. Who's wearing green underpants?
Who will admit it?
Who isn't wearing any underpants? That's my hand for everything. Pick me.
She used to ask me these questions every morning before we got to sleep. Paris, back off.
She was really the one wearing the pants, so to speak.
Green, red, yellow.
So does anybody have any questions for us? What do you have now?
We have microphones up at the front of the rooms on both sides. So I want to get people up to the microphones for questions, please.
Where are the mics?
They're here and over there too. Yeah.
Or you can stand up and say it really loudly.
What projects are both of you presently working on?
The question was, what projects are we both working on? I recently finished a play. I'm doing another play in April, May, June. And I wrote a short film that goes into production next month. And I'm also back at uni, and I'm studying politics, philosophy, and history. And at the moment, so I'm going to have to ask you some questions, ladies. At the moment, I'm studying American government and foreign policy. And I have a copy of the Constitution up in my suitcase because I have to write an essay on the Constitution. I did one on the Supreme Court, so I know a little bit about that now.
You can join our Supreme Court. Yeah. Where are you doing your play?
The play that I did was in Dublin, and it's transferred over to the Spoleto Festival.
Okay.
It was in Dublin. Yes, that's right. It's in Dublin. So, and what about you?
Well, I guess I'll back up a little bit. I just did 2 films. I don't know if anybody saw any of them. They came out on December the 4th. One called Breaking Point with Busta Rhymes and Tom Berenger, and another one called Transylvania, which was a wacky comedy, which you either love it or you hate it. It's one of those things, but it was a lot of fun. And I did another film. I think they're either going to call it Johnny or John the Revelator, which will be coming out in April, I believe. Which is for the Christian market. So besides that, there's another project in the pipeline, but until I hear the word action and actually stand on the set, it means 0. But yeah, like Paris, I've been doing a lot of other things as well. I also studied, but I have been studying for quite a while on doing medical Qigong, which I love. I don't know if anybody's familiar with medical Qigong, but it's energetic healing, and it's absolutely profound for those of you who are not familiar with it. It's really worth looking into. I've seen amazing things, and I really find that very interesting, and devote quite a bit of time to that. I actually have a website that you can check out. I have to update it. You couldn't really lift your arm up to hold the sword and fight properly, and having the metal cap on your head was it was very tight and uncomfortable in very. Mine wasn't uncomfortable at all. Yours was made of like soft velvet, and mine was made of like metal. All of it. Hard.
No, to be fair, I didn't have to do as much fighting as you, though. But
this is my daily existence with Paris. Are you wearing underwear? Is your costume tight? Is it metal or is it soft? Actually, it was a wonderful costume as far as the dynamic of it.
I think we can all agree to you're pretty fantastic in it. It's funny because the director said to me, when I went back to do a couple of other episodes and I saw him again, he said, I don't know how I didn't see Musetta's legs the first time around. There's that shot when she steps out in the beginning, I think it's the very beginning, and you step out. He said, I don't know how, I must have been so preoccupied, but boy, does she have amazing legs. I thought I'd share that with you in case I didn't tell you. That's the director.
Actually, talk about legs, and I don't know if you guys have heard the story, but one of the first things we did was rehearse the action sequence that I did with Lucy's stunt double, one of the very first days I got there, and we did one of these kicks, and I'm flexible, I'm going to do my whole life, so I was like, that's no problem. Of course, I kicked, and I tore my hamstring for like the first day out, because it wasn't warm. So actually, when you see the footage and that jump that you're referring to, I was literally like, jumping up, okay, I made it, cool. Or anytime I had to run, I had to, you actually see me kicking with my leg bent, which is not normal from dance. I was intending to have these high, straight leg kicks, sky high. It didn't work out the way I had envisioned it because of my hamstring. And I run away really strangely with like bent, turned out legs. If you look closely, now that you see the horrible detail.
Is there a question here? Yeah, she's asking how my mum is. So she's very well. Thank you for asking. So, a question here?
I would love to know how you would pick the parts and the wisdom behind that.
Oh, I remember. I was doing a play at the time, actually, about the Greeks, about the mythological time about the Greeks.
Question.
Oh, I'm sorry. How did we come to be cast in Xena? And I think a part of the reason I got the part was because I had been working. It was 8 plays over 2 nights, and in the plays we would refer to Zeus and we would refer to all of the gods and goddesses. So they were very familiar to me, and it didn't seem unusual topic at all. So when I went into audition, I think that part of the fact, 2 things that happened that was really funny. Well, one wasn't so funny. I walked in and it was absolutely full of these Amazonian women, and I'm 5'3", and these women were all about sort of 5'10", 5'11", and as gorgeous as only sort of castings in LA can be, as you like. And I walked in and I went, oh. And this girl sat beside me and said, they're all so good looking, aren't they? And I, in my mind, I thought, what am I, chopped liver? That it's okay. But out of my mouth came kindness. And I said, no, come on, don't think like that. You're as attractive as everybody else, and don't take that in with your aura. And the other thing that I saw was a lot of the girls were sword fighting, doing this kind of pretend sword fighting that had to happen in the audition. And as I sat and watched them, I thought, that looks really, really stupid. It really does. When you see people doing this, I thought, with the best will in the world, that is going to be distracting. So I made a choice not to do that in the audition, and I just did the lines. And then I think I got cast 6 o'clock that evening. So it's a combination. Sometimes you're kind of in a zone, and I remember there was a room of people of about 8 or so, and at one point I could see people sort of looking at each other as I was doing the reading, and I thought, well, that means one of 2 things. But I just remember sometimes when you do an audition, and if you're not nervous, which I wasn't, and you kind of can't remember the audition as well, that's quite a good sign, I find. Because you haven't been sort of aware of yourself or nervous or anything. So that's how that came to be.